Welcome back folks, my name's Shane. In today's video we're checking out the Panasonic LUT loader option built into the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II. This is something I've wanted to test. I actually spoke to Peter Gregg and Rhett Thompson. They suggested doing this exact video. So thanks guys, go check out their channels. I'll link them down in the description box below. Before we get into it, a huge thanks to everyone who subscribed based on my Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II review video. I put so much work into that and I finally have my hands on a production copy, and I just ordered another one. So I'll have two of these coming up. They're really fantastic cameras. I'm shooting this with the Sony a7S III in S-Log3. So I'll be grading this and you can make a comparison between what you think of the image quality out of this versus the a7S III as well. So it's a bit of a two-in-one. Any of the vlog footage that was in that review was graded with Panasonic's Nicest LUT. It's by far my favorite. So that's what I've loaded into the S5 Mark II. If you haven't tried the Nicest LUT, give it a go. Grading vlog is so much easier than other camera systems out there on the market, at least in my opinion anyway. So it'd be great to see just what burning the LUT in real time will actually do for our footage. This entire video will be shot using the S5 Mark II with the 35mm f1.8 prime lens. This is my studio lens. It doesn't often get outside, but I thought I'd take it for just something a little bit different. All right, I'm back in the studio shooting with the natural picture profile. I've got all the sample clips lined up. I'm not only going to show you how it compares just burning the LUT in the camera versus in post, but I'm also going to show you some clips that I've graded as the end result. Now, being that this is a YouTube project, I'm not shooting a film or anything. I'm just going to grade it to my liking. And then we're going to compare the difference between both clips as well, and we'll talk about the workflow. What you're looking at is the Nicest LUT thanks to the LUT loader with no other post-processing. So this is how it comes straight out of camera. And now you're looking at the Nicest LUT being applied in post over vlog. And as you can see, there is a difference, and I'll comment on this in just a moment. Here's how the standard vlog picture profile looks before adding a LUT, just as a frame of reference. Taking a look side by side, when you add the Nicest LUT in post, you're getting closer to a finalized image. This is also evident just by taking a look at the waveform. I had no problems matching the in-camera LUT versus the actual LUT just by adjusting the levels. They look almost identical. Checking out both clips using the waveform, they're both very similar, and the eyeball test also confirms this, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. This last sample is both clips edited to my liking for a YouTube project. I think they both look great. Here's another clip of me standing a little bit further back. The sun's almost completely overhead here, as you can see by the shadows. And here's the LUT being applied in post. Again, you can see that the levels are completely different to the last clip. Just by doing a 5-second edit on this clip, I was able to get both clips to look exactly the same, or close enough that I can't see a difference. Let's push the dynamic range a little bit. I'm sitting in the shade, being heavily backlit. Now this is with the LUT loader option. Here we have the LUT being applied in post with no other color corrections. In this side by side, I've tried to match the clip on the left to the clip on the right. I've tried to get them as close as I can, but I don't love both. So I'm going to show you an edited version. Here's a finalized version on both. Again, they both look identical, and the clip on the left was far easier to edit. Already I can tell that there's no major disadvantages to burning in a LUT in camera versus adding it in post. Now, if you love a particular LUT like I do with the Nicest LUT, doing it this way is so much more time efficient, and it will also take up far less system resources depending on your method for putting the LUT on the project. So this is really great. Just by adjusting the levels a little bit, I was able to get them to look almost indistinguishable. Before I show you how easy it is to edit the in-camera footage, I just want to show you a couple of more examples in a few different lighting scenarios. I'm standing right out in the sun, and this is the LUT loader on the camera. I think it handles this beautifully. And here we have the Nicest picture profile being added in post. With a simple adjustment, I was able to get the in-camera LUT option to look almost identical to the one added in post. It all comes down to the finalized image, and both of these have now been graded to where I'm happy with them. I think they both look great. This last comparison will seal the deal if you're thinking about using the LUT loader option in camera. So this is how it looks, just being recorded directly into the camera. Here's the Nicest LUT now being applied in post. And here's both clips side by side. This is the identical scene. If you look closely in the middle, you'll see a seam line, and that's it. They're both very, very similar. This is, of course, after I edit both clips to my liking. And now over to the editing process. This is how quick and easy it is to get your footage to look great if you use the LUT loader option on the camera. So this is the Nicest LUT over here on screen being burnt in camera. As you can see from the waveform over here, we have lots of dynamic range to work with. I'm not even going to bring up the color wheels. I'm just going to use this because for YouTube projects, this is all I ever need. Now we can bring this up. I usually like to get the skin to be somewhere around 75. And as you can see on my head is just under here. So this is probably a little bit too hot for me here. Bring it to there. Maybe just add a little bit of saturation, and that would, to me, be very close to being finished already. So it's a lot easier just by doing this in post, getting this to look pretty much spot on around there. And I would say that's close to a finalized image. I think it looks great. Let us know what you think. All right, let's wrap this video up. There's a few things I can see this being really useful for. One, productivity. That's the whole idea. I always use the same LUT. So for me, just having it baked in at the time of recording makes a whole lot of sense. If I've got 300 clips on a timeline and they've already got their LUT applied, it saves me having to do that step. The editing process is so easy. It wouldn't be anything different than if I was using the natural picture profile, for example, outdoors on a bright sunny day. I'd have to correct it in different ways, but this just works straight as it is. I really like this. Let us know your thoughts, and if you have any questions, leave them below. Catch you soon. See ya.